I've played War Thunder for 10 years, with over 800 videos and 10 years of experience under my belt. Join me as we chat about my journey over the past 10 years. I'm in a 1930s bomber! Buy my decal. G'day, I'm Ash. Welcome back to War Thunder. On this very special occasion of my 10th anniversary of playing this absolutely horrendous video game. As much as we love to hate it and hate to love it, I am quite burnt out on the fact that this game has kept me going for so long. And I owe it to some of you, I owe it to some of the other content creators, I owe it to the wider community. You guys have inspired me to do and do things that I wouldn't have necessarily pushed myself to do in the past. I've had some immense fun, some great moments, some entertaining flights of fancy and interesting conversations with various community members and people over the years. And it's today that I realised that it could be very well be a wasted time, a wasted effort. Just because we, so dearly like the game doesn't mean that it's perfect. With the recent economy changes, the nerfs, the buffs, the just changes in general, the revisions of those patches, and obviously the reversal of those decisions, the War Thunder boycotts and several other things, it does feel out of place that here I am celebrating my 10th year anniversary on such a travesty and a community indecisive nature. It's been an interesting couple of years to see what Gaijin has been pushing over the years to try and figure out what they can squeeze out of us by changing modifiers slowly every single month from about late 2021. Enough's enough, the community is outspoken about that. They've gone and done the unthinkable, and Gaijin has sort of retracted their statement. They gave us a vague sort of look at what a questionnaire would be, and they said that it was for the players and for the general players, and we hear you, but it's a bit tone deaf. And while I want to talk to you about how I started War Thunder, I do want to acknowledge that these things are ongoing, and if you're not in the loop, essentially what has happened is people were fed up with War Thunder's changes, and a bunch of content creators have gone live with videos detailing the whole entire lot. So while I was late to the party, I guess I was just watching, sitting on the sidelines, holding my breath, because I didn't really feel like it was my turn to really speak as a part of the issues. This game's due for an overhaul, it's due for better mechanics, but mind you, the community seems to think otherwise, and I am generally for the greater good, and always have fought for consumer rights, and always have sort of presented myself in more of a negative light. Although recently I've tried to stay away from the negative connotations that it brings, and talking about problems, as it only brings in a negative mindset that further degrades the whole entire integrity of someone's demeanour. I can't take negativity too well. I've got a lot of negative things in my life that I really can't really deal with and internalise. And for me, the biggest achievement that I had in mind was to unlock all of the aircraft by the time that I reached my 10-year anniversary. And while or not the economy has been gradually dipping into a state of disrepair, Gaijin have just been pushing this monetization practices that I haven't really experienced in any other free-to-play game for some time. I understand this is a capitalistic nature, this game is designed to make money, but how far is too far? When I started this game, I looked back on it with a fond sort of memory. You start as a new player, you experience the game for the very first time. It's exciting, it's a fresh world, a fresh environment. There was no other vehicle game on it that had a historical battles, and there was tiers 1 to 20, and there was a lot less vehicles back then, and there certainly wasn't supersonic jets or any of the paid modifications. But at the core heart of the game, it was still a monetized game that was offered free. And we didn't really get it back in 2013. There was MOBA games like that. There was World of Tanks. There were several other free-to-play games, League of Legends, for example. But at that period in time, there wasn't enough content for them to really start squeezing the living shit out of the player base like they do in 2022. So to summarise what has been happening over the last 48 hours is an understatement. We've had incredibly sort of a volatile period where essentially boycotting has happened, review bombing on Steam, developer statements, a teaser trailer for the next major update, a feedback poll, and apparently players are not going to be playing the game on the 26th of this month. Then, obviously, they announced the changes, and the previously announced economy changes have been rolled back. And then there has been the dev stream and dev showcase of the upcoming update. It's been one hell of a mess, and I'm not entirely sure where to put myself going forward. The fact of the matter is, they've fucked up so many times in the past that it was only coming for them. War Thunder in the past has had several other controversies. Do you remember the free parts and FPE fiasco, where people were complaining that because the parts and FPE were rank 4, they couldn't necessarily compete against people who had spaded or had vehicles that were more upgraded than them. And that caused a massive controversy, but that wasn't the only controversy. The marketplace had just been introduced, where we had now have boxes of skins and rare vehicles and items and, you know, decorators and various other bits and pieces. But it was initially introduced to only have skins and decorators. That was its only purpose, which everyone was fine with. And then they added the rare vehicles. People were somewhat hesitant at this, but they got the idea through. And just before the parts and FPE fiasco, and before the Free Abrams famous statement by Sean, we got something that was a devblog announcement, which announced possibly the most controversial change to War Thunder: paid modifications and parts. Following in the footsteps of their competitor Wargaming, they decided to announce that they were going to add to the marketplace paid consumables, and that you would be able to pay real life money for extra fire extinguishers or extra repair kits and so on and so forth. And that's where we get the free parts and FPE fiasco. I'd love to talk about some of the other controversies as well. We had basically a whole heap of different things. War Thunder's Bad Moments Volume 2 is just, they can't get away from terrible decisions, and they walk them back, and they eventually implement them 6 months down the line when nobody's paying attention. It just gets to the point where how much pull, how much tug do we actually have? We don't really have a lot of leeway. As long as you guys are buying, for example, my decals, I've seen how much money you guys have spent on that particular product. I'm only getting 3% of that, and that's already a lot of money. So, I don't know, imagine the 40 to 50 other content creators have their decals in the game, how much money they're making off us at 3% value, even if I'm only getting a few, $100. Think about it. Or to a few $1,000s. Think about it. Just think about how much money they've made, and the multitude of different vehicles they have to introduce. For example, I remember when the terms came out, there was a figure that was given to me from an undisclosed source that apparently said they had sold well over $1 million worth of product. I'm not entirely sure what that means to you, but that's an incentive for them to make more top tier vehicles consistently and more often. And ever since the introduction of the XM1 and its counterparts, I believe it was the RU251, the Gaussian's focus since early 2015 has always been about monetary gain. It just happens to be that they've more focused on that direction rather than improving upon a game which is now 10 years old and is heading into its 11th year of operation. They really need to sort of figure out some more quality of life things, or generally just improve the UI / the dynamics of the game rather than focusing on new shiny vehicles. The compound issue of that, though, is that if they don't continue adding new content, this game dies in its entirety. Despite the fact that the player count and the player base is at its highest record time ever, this game has always remained in the top 20 of War Thunder, well, at least the Steam charts, and War Thunder has always remained in the top 20 of video games played. People know what this game is, people know what it represents, and I have a feeling that review bombing is only going to get worse as more strategic sort of outbursts of, the community's outburst goes even too far. What's next? What's stopping the community from going absolutely berserk with other changes? There isn't really much else to say here, but whether or not I'm against or for the boycott is rather hard to say. I can't really justify the actions of others who will then take it a bit too far. But in hindsight, Gaussian is an absolutely colossal fuckwit of a company that, in some cases, deserved what they had coming. Karma is a thing. And while I do sit on the sidelines sometimes and just observe some of the minor changes and not commentate on absolutely every single major change that War Thunder has and does, I do feel like in some part this was a little bit of an overreaction in some part of the community. Look, I didn't really want to make a video on it. I had the script planned and prepared. I had bits and pieces I was going to talk about. I was going to show the different things that the community wanted to, resolve, and some of the things that have happened over the last 16 to 24 months that have really pissed off a lot of the core players. A lot of my friends haven't been playing the game as much just because of pure burnout for what the game has become. The eternal grinding simulator where you're always trying to min-max and trying to get as many kills and as many nukes as possible in order to really justify your repair costs. Oh, it's such as life, economy balance, rewards, earnings, why is this vehicle here? Why is this new premium vehicle? And it just... War Thunder never ceases to have enough issues to really just deep dive into. Whether it's map design, whether it's UI design, whether it's game mechanics, whether it's something like that. And I've had enough. So, as a result, I think I've earned it. I'm going to boost my way with Galgen provided Golden Eagles. I didn't buy those myself. And I'm going to buy the last remaining aircraft that I need in order to celebrate my 10-year anniversary. Because I had 2 goals in mind when playing this game. One, to unlock all of the aircraft in War Thunder, as I'm showcasing you right now, and the second one, to become a 10-year veteran. I have no idea what else to do now. It just seems pointless me playing the game. It does feel a bit somber, and I was going to touch on more emotional moments, but I'm too worked up and a bit angry with Galgen Entertainment at the moment. So yeah, go on, buy my decal and waste a bunch of money on Galgen Entertainment. I don't know.